Imagine waking up to the news that the cost of securing an H-1B visa in the United States has skyrocketed overnight, not by a few $100s, not even by a few thousand, but to a staggering $100,000 per year. That's the reality announced by the Trump administration in a surprise executive order, shaking the very foundations of America's technology sector. The H-1B program has long been a bridge between American innovation and global talent, bringing highly skilled workers from countries like India and China to fill critical roles in engineering, research, and IT. Now, with this massive fee hike, the entire landscape of how companies hire and retain foreign talent could change dramatically. Let's break down exactly what this new policy entails, why it has triggered immediate backlash from tech giants, and what it could mean for workers, businesses, and the future of American competitiveness on the global stage. So what happened exactly? On Friday, President Trump signed an executive order mandating a $100,000 annual fee for every H-1B visa holder, effective immediately. To put that in perspective, companies currently pay a few $1,000s in application fees and legal costs for each visa. Overnight, that cost has multiplied dozens of times over. Tech firms like Microsoft and JP Morgan quickly sent urgent guidance to their employees, advising those on H-1B visas to remain in the country and avoid international travel. The sudden move sparked widespread alarm, especially among foreign-born workers who make up a critical share of the U.S. technology workforce. With no grace period and no gradual rollout, the policy caught many off guard, creating confusion about its implementation and long-term consequences. The administration defended the decision by arguing that the H-1B program has been misused by corporations to drive down wages for American workers. Officials pointed to statistics showing that a large majority of H-1B visas go to workers from India and China, suggesting that domestic workers often lose out on opportunities. However, critics argue that this narrative overlooks the essential role these workers play in industries like artificial intelligence, software development, cybersecurity, and biotechnology, areas where demand for talent often far outpaces domestic supply. Instead of protecting American jobs, opponents warn, the fee could discourage companies from hiring foreign specialists altogether, pushing them to move operations overseas where talent is more accessible and affordable. The impact on the technology industry could be severe. Large corporations with deep pockets might absorb the additional cost, but smaller companies and startups, which often rely heavily on specialized foreign workers, could be priced out of the market. This could stifle innovation, reduce competitiveness, and create barriers for companies that drive much of America's technological growth. Beyond that, firms may reconsider expanding in the United States at all. If hiring international talent becomes prohibitively expensive, businesses could instead build offices in countries like Canada, Ireland, or Singapore, all of which have more welcoming visa policies. That kind of shift would not only hurt the U.S. economy, but also weaken its reputation as the world's top hub for innovation. Corporate reactions were swift and sharp. Microsoft, JP Morgan, and several other major employers issued immediate internal memos urging visa holders to stay in the U.S. and prepare for potential disruptions to their work status. Some companies are even considering legal challenges, arguing that the fee is arbitrary, excessive, and damaging to the broader economy. Stock prices for firms heavily reliant on global talent, including outsourcing giants like Cognizant and Infosys, fell noticeably after the announcement, reflecting market uncertainty and investor concern. Industry leaders fear that if this policy stays in place, it could not only affect current employees, but also deter top global talent from ever considering the U.S. as a career destination. Adding to the complexity, the administration paired this fee increase with the introduction of a so-called Gold Card program. Under this initiative, individuals willing to invest at least $1 million in the United States could qualify for permanent residency. Supporters of this approach say it encourages wealthier investors to pour capital into the American economy. However, critics see it as creating a two-tiered immigration system, one for the ultra-rich who can buy their way in, and another for highly skilled workers who may be priced out despite their expertise and contributions. This stark contrast has fueled debate about whether the policy is truly about protecting jobs or more about reshaping immigration priorities in line with an America First political agenda. For the thousands of workers already in the U.S. on H-1B visas, uncertainty looms large. Many are asking, will this fee apply retroactively to existing visas? What about renewals or extensions? Could families of H-1B workers be affected if sponsors cannot afford the new costs? Without clear answers, families are left in limbo, facing potential disruptions to their careers, children's education, and long-term plans of settling in the U.S. The emotional toll is as significant as the financial one. Visa holders who were once confident in their professional and personal futures are now weighing whether staying in the U.S. is even feasible under the new rules. The broader implications extend beyond individual families. By making it harder and more expensive for companies to hire foreign talent, the U.S. risks losing its competitive edge in critical fields. For example, artificial intelligence and semiconductor research are global battlegrounds where expertise is scarce. If top talent chooses to move to countries with friendlier visa policies, America could fall behind in industries that are vital for both economic growth and national security. This policy, opponents argue, sends the wrong message at the wrong time. Instead of attracting the world's best and brightest, it could push them away, creating long-term consequences for American leadership in science and technology. There's also the risk of increased offshoring. Rather than paying $100,000 per worker to bring talent into the U.S., companies may decide to relocate entire teams to international offices where the talent pool is accessible and affordable. Canada, for example, has already positioned itself as a prime alternative, with streamlined immigration policies designed to attract tech workers frustrated by U.S. restrictions. Ireland and Germany are also attractive destinations, offering stability and access to the European market. If this trend accelerates, the U.S. could see not just individual workers leaving, but entire industries gradually shifting their base of operations elsewhere. Legal challenges are expected in the weeks ahead. Immigration lawyers and business coalitions are preparing to contest the executive order in court, arguing that such a drastic fee hike lacks justification and violates principles of fairness. They may also push for injunctions to block the policy's implementation while litigation is ongoing. If successful, these challenges could at least delay the rollout of the new fees, buying time for companies and workers to adjust. However, legal battles can drag on for years, leaving employers and employees in a state of uncertainty that itself disrupts hiring, planning, and long-term investment. Market reaction provides another important signal. Shares in tech outsourcing firms like Infosys, Cognizant, and Wipro dropped sharply after the announcement, as investors calculated the potential hit to revenue and talent pipelines. Even major U.S. firms like Google, Amazon, and Apple, which employ thousands of H-1B workers, are facing questions about how they'll adapt. Will they absorb the costs, pass them on to consumers, or accelerate investment abroad? While markets may stabilize in the short term, the long-term outlook is filled with uncertainty. How corporate America adapts to this policy could determine whether the U.S. retains its global leadership in technology or cedes ground to other nations. As the dust settles, one thing is clear: This executive order marks one of the most dramatic shifts in U.S. immigration and employment policy in recent memory. Whether it achieves its stated goal of protecting American jobs is up for debate, but the immediate fallout shows deep concern across industries, workers, and markets. For H-1B holders, their families, and the companies that employ them, the coming months will be a period of difficult decisions, legal battles, and strategic recalculations. For the United States, the stakes are even higher. The choice to impose a $100,000 H-1B fee may not just reshape the future of immigration policy, it could also redefine America's role in the global race for innovation.